Today I'm going to talk about a few simple tips to help guide your healthy eating. It's really common today to see headlines of conflicting nutrition statements, whether it's fat is good for you or fat is bad for you, or fruit is good for you, fruit is bad for you. There are new headlines every day, but at the end of the day, there are a few things that everyone can agree on, and today I'm going to explain some of those in detail. The first tip, which is by far the most important and fundamental principle to follow, is to eat whole foods. Not necessarily eating from the grocery store whole foods, but to eat foods in their state as they are in nature. So whether it's fruits and vegetables from the produce aisle, or whole grains, or legumes, nuts and seeds that is from the earth as they would grow. And of course, we're avoiding packages here. So even things that are labeled as healthy packaged food, veggie burgers, some of those can really be unhealthy, even though they're marketed very well. And one thing that's often overlooked is that foods in their whole form not only have these vitamins and minerals, but they have other phytonutrients that actually help our bodies to absorb those nutrients. So it's a whole synergistic thing happening, and when we extract these nutrients and fortify foods with them, we're losing that magic that is in whole foods. So take the guessing out of it and eat whole foods. Your body will thank you. The next tip is to make half of your plate veggies. And this is just a general guideline. It's not realistic, of course, for every meal to have half of a plate of veggies. This is in hopes of reaching the 6 to 8 servings of vegetables that is really ideal for true health. Of course, at every meal, it will look different. It's a little more difficult at breakfast, where things like smoothies or breakfast burritos are the easiest to sneak veggies into. But at lunch and dinner, you really have the opportunity to make sure you're including veggies on at least half of your meal. The next tip is to make sure you're including a variety of colors in your meals. This is so important because every food, every color has its own fingerprint for health. So it's providing you a different number of antioxidants and phytonutrients, vitamins, and minerals. And in order to really meet your body's needs, you need to make sure you're including a spectrum of colors. And this is a great way to kind of guide your daily eating, because you can think about every meal, every snack, if you're including a range of colors throughout the day. This is a fun way to become creative with your meals, because you can start to think of ways to sneak in things like beets or red cabbage or cauliflower or berries into different meals. And the great thing about fruits and veggies is they really do all taste great together, and it's pretty hard to mess it up. So don't be afraid to do something like make a great salad but include some fruit in it, or make a smoothie and include some veggies in it. Of course, you want to be a little bit careful on the smoothies because certain veggies are overpowering, but it does give you that moment to be creative and think of how you can include more veggies in your day. The next tip is to include cruciferous veggies. So this is really zooming in primarily on the green color range, because this is foods like good old Brussels sprouts, broccoli, kale, arugula, even things like cauliflower. These are all considered cruciferous. And the reason that they are so important is because they are particularly health promoting. They really support the liver, which your dear liver is doing so much for your body, including detoxification. And this is really important for maintaining day-to-day health, but also long-term health. So when we're talking about prevention of disease and when we're talking about feeling good on the day-to-day, cruciferous vegetables are the way to go. When you learn to prepare them and make them really great tasting, it becomes a lot easier to make them a part of your lifestyle. So this comes back to taking the initiative for your health and having fun with it. Don't just sit back and eat broccoli plain or handle Brussels sprouts on their own. It's really a skill, and it's really fun to learn how to cook. And this brings me to the next tip, which is to use spices and herbs. This is a part of healthy eating that is really underemphasized, but is so important because so many spices and herbs are really health promoting. Some of the more popular ones these days are things like turmeric, which we know is incredibly anti-inflammatory, and I like to throw on almost any vegetable that I eat. Other things like cinnamon help to regulate your blood sugar. Garlic is incredibly antimicrobial and can support your immune system. The list goes on, but basically any spice or herb, cilantro, parsley, rosemary, have their own signature health benefits. And it's important, just like eating a range of colors and a range of fruits and vegetables, it's also important to make sure you're including a range of spices and herbs in your day, because they are almost more potent than anything else. They are jam-packed and it's a great thing to include. The last tip, which is not exactly eating but goes right along eating, is staying hydrated. This cannot be emphasized enough because staying hydrated is so important for not only being energized and avoiding fatigue, but for supporting every single process in your body. Everything requires water, and a lot of us neglect how much water we're drinking, or we think we're drinking enough liquid, which can actually be dehydrating. A general rule to follow if you have a BMI that is normal is to take your weight and divide it in 2, and that is the number of ounces of water that you should be having in a day, ideally. Of course, the best thing to do is to listen to your body because it will tell you when it needs water or when it's had enough. If you're feeling lethargic or if you're feeling hungry after you've had a pretty substantial meal, that can be a sign that your body's just looking for water. So it can never hurt, drink a little water, and if it makes you feel better, you know you've done well. So the few tips we went over today are to first make sure you're eating whole foods from the earth as nature made them. The second is to be working towards having half of your plate for most of your meals being veggies. And if you're struggling making that happen at most of your meals, including veggies and snacks, doing some kind of veggie with hummus or guac is a great way to incorporate them in your day. The next is to focus on eating a variety of color. This includes fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, all of those things. We really should be focusing on eating the rainbow because every food, every color has its own health benefits, and they all together help us build health. The next tip is to focus on cruciferous veggies. So these are things like kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli. These are extremely helpful in preventing disease and promoting detox in your body, so they're great to include. Next thing is to make sure that while you're eating all your fruits and veggies, you're spicing them up with spices and herbs. These are full of nutrition and full of antioxidants and many other compounds that help us to feel well. So including them is a great way to not only make your food taste great, but to help your body. And the last tip is to drink water. Make sure you're hydrated. It's important for everything your body does, so don't forget to do it. I hope this helped, and thank you so much for watching.